Never ever do this, and it's almost automatic to want to ride the slide, but if you do, you run the risk of everything not going into battery right, especially on a really tight gun like this. Hey folks, Tim Sundles here. Gonna go over some Gucci guns today. My beautiful wife Kim is filming, and I've just been outside shooting, and it's early in the morning still. Gonna go over some Gucci guns and why, if you're really finicky about your self-defense, you may want to look at very expensive pistols. All 6 of mine are a 2011, 1911 variant of some kind, and we'll go over them a little bit. One of the first things I want to point out is pistol size. You know, like this is a Wilson P1, which would make an excellent everyday carry gun. I've got 400 rounds through it and it's still not broken in. That's how tight these Wilsons are. But there are things in a pinch I can do faster with this than with any other kind of carry gun. And this is a pure carry gun. You almost need to go to a match gun, which I have a few here, which all can be used for carry guns. You just pop the magwell off. If you want, get a shorter magazine for them, you can carry them just fine. But if we look at the size of one of these full-size carry guns, and this is like a 5-inch 1911 is, I mean, you can use it in pretty much any 1911 holster. Here's probably my most carried gun, at least in the summer, and you know, that's a SIG P365. It's a 9mm. And which one would you rather go into a gunfight with? On the 1911s, the bigger guns, and it's true of any bigger gun, you get a longer sight radius, you've got a little more weight. For example, look at this Staccato. You know, 4-inch barrel, but look at the sight radius difference on it. And if you had a 5-inch barrel, you'd get another inch. So sight radius, it really matters. So let's talk about these for a second. I mean, these bigger guns, they're heavier. You can double tap with them much faster. I mean, you get the longer sight radius, you get less muzzle flash, you get more velocity. I don't know how much that matters, but you get, you know, less report on your ears too. So if you live in situations where you can have the right clothing to conceal a gun, these full-size pistolas are very, very nice for carry. I mean, you've got an 18 round capacity, you know, versus the 11 or 12 you get with the P365. They're worth carrying. Not everybody lives in a situation where they can conceal a full-size 1911. And this would be like a commander size with the 4-inch barrel. So let's go over these one at a time. Heck, I'll just start right here. This Staccato is probably the only gun here that's broken in. These guns require between 500 and 1,000 rounds to break in because they're machined very, very tight. Well, I bought the Staccato used, and so it came pre-broken in. Shot it quite a bit myself. I really like it. It's certainly something you could carry, and the magwell, if it bothered you, is removable, and I believe you can get shorter magazines also for the Staccato if you want. This one's an 18-shot magazine. Really, really a nice gun. I'd have no problem carrying this myself for self-defense. And remember, one of the issues with every gun on this table is they're gonna have match grade barrels and match grade chambers, which means you better break them in and you better test them with whatever carry ammo you want to use to make sure that minimum spec chamber isn't raising pressures or isn't being finicky about feeding. I mean, they will raise pressures, but that's not a bad thing in and of itself. It's a matter of how much do they raise pressures versus your choice of ammo. Anyway, gosh, I mean, even as a woods gun, you know, 19 rounds or 18 rounds of Buffalo Bore outdoorsman ammo. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't use it as an outdoor gun, at least not in grizzly country, but like in the Midwest and places there's no grizzly, it'd be fine. Great gun. Okay, I'm gonna ride Springfield Armory's butt here. This is a Prodigy, and it came with a chamber that was so tight, I tried, I think, 7 different types of factory ammo and never even got one magazine to feed through the gun reliably without at least one stoppage, usually 2 or 3. And I mean, I looked at that chamber and I went, oh my gosh, this thing is way too tight. So what Springfield Armory did was they sent me a project gun. In this case, I didn't mind so much because I wanted to shoot this Prodigy suppressed, and you know, this is a threaded barrel, and that's just a cap. Got it on there tight. That's just a thread protector cap, but it's a threaded barrel. Instead of a 5-inch barrel, it's almost a 6 with that extended threaded barrel. Now this gun, and I've put 400 rounds through it since I got it back from Barstow. I always, if I'm going to go with an aftermarket barrel, I always go Barstow. Irvstone will hand fit these things. They're not drop-ins, and they generally are very accurate and generally pretty fast barrels. And you know, they're using kind of a target minimum spec chamber in it, just like all these have. So you got to run it and run it and run it and make sure it's reliable. I don't really shoot very good with an optic. I left the optic on this one. I took it off of the Wilson P1. It's sitting right here because, you know, I think it matters that you train with what you carry. And I've just been an iron sight guy all my life. I mean, they didn't have optics like this on pistols just even 15 years ago. And I've been shooting for pistols like this for, I probably got my first Beretta 92F, which is like this, and my first Glock 17 in the mid 80s. And so, you know, that's 40 years of shooting pistols like this with iron sights. So I don't do that great with the reflex type, red dot type sights. They're just, I suppose if I practiced and practiced and practiced, and if my eyesight was bad enough that I couldn't see sights, I suppose there'd be a reason to have that. Now, I've talked to you about the Wilson P1, and frankly, of all the guns here, if I had to carry one, and I've already ordered a shoulder holster for this from Rob Leahy at Simply Rugged. It's a Sundles Ready rig, and you know, it'll be a right-hand shoulder holster, and on the ammo pouch side, it'll have one magazine holder and one light holder. So wherever I carry it, I can carry a flashlight, and it's real easy to snap this on the gun. I can't say enough good about this. Kim likes it too. She had wrist surgery years ago. Can't shoot hard recoiling anything because her wrist hurts, you know, and that's why she's been using 380 ACPs a lot. But with the porting system on this, it works for her really well. And I will say this about porting systems. I've got 2 ported guns here. This is a Springfield P211, they call them. It's a kind of a 1911 variant. Both these guns have ports on top and ports on the side. If you get in a shooting in the dark, you're gonna have to deal with the muzzle flash. So research your ammo and get ammo that uses low flash powder. Ours uses low flash powder. All of our 9mm loads do, except for the bulk bag stuff, and I think even it does. The muzzle flash is a big deal, and it just seems like so many shootings are in the dark. You know, that's kind of when the criminal element is out and at it. So this pistol is the Springfield EDC, and they make these in 4 and 5 inch barrels. I chose the 5 just because if I'm going to carry something in a shoulder holster, the shoulder holster disperses the weight. You don't get a lot of, a full-size gun, fully loaded in a hip holster can get uncomfortable. It can yank on your pants and stuff. In a shoulder holster, the weight is spread across your shoulders. You don't notice the weight. And this gun will fit in any 1911 holster, as will this gun. So I got the 5 inch barrel instead of the 4. The Wilson combat guns are as tight as you can get and still be a combat gun. They're built more like match guns, and there's good and bad to that. The bad is you need to really break them in, at least 500 rounds worth. And check the pistols when you first get them. Take them apart and lube them. A lot of these guns came with sufficient lube. This one didn't, and this one was hanging up the first few magazines. And so I looked at it and I thought, man, the gun's completely dry. Whereas this one came from Wilson completely lubed and ready to rock and roll. I've never ever had a hang up with this, not even breaking it in. So that's kind of on me. I took the gun apart, looked it over, lubed it, and it's never malfunctioned since. And I've got about probably 400 rounds through it right now. You know, I really need 500 or 600 rounds through it, but it runs 100% since I lubed it. It's always on the shooter when you get a new gun to look down your barrel and see if there's a bore obstruction in it, or to lube your gun, or, you know, that's all on you. You need to do those things. It's so easy to buy a new gun and go, oh, great, and get some ammo and just start shooting without, you know, doing your due diligence. And, you know, a lot of people have ruined guns doing that. You know, the gun might have sat in a warehouse where it had an oily barrel, and then dust and bugs and all kinds of crap collected in the barrel for the 4 years it sat there before it sold. And, you know, you just buy it, stick some ammo in it, and pull the trigger. Well, yeah, probably not a good idea. I dry patch all my barrels first. Just run a dry patch down them in case there's any oil, any lube, anything left in the barrel, dust. And you might laugh when I say bugs. I've found dead bugs in gun barrels. So that can mess with your pressures big time if you shoot it that way. Probably won't, but it can. It certainly can. If I wasn't going to carry the P1 with the ports, and I really like the ports, I'd carry the EDC. These Wilson guns are well thought out, and they're made to be carry guns. You know, they're bobbed. Everything about them is nice. The EDC comes with a 15-round magazine, but it will accept, no problemo, the 18-round magazine of the P1. And, you know, everything at Wilson is done like it's a complete package. You can tell it's not a bunch of bolt-ons and add-ons like some of these custom guns. I mean, you know, they got a lot of bolt-ons and add-ons. The only good news is if you want it off, it's made to come off. But the Wilson guns are nice. And by the way, this P1 will take the 15-round magazine. And the P1's got a little integrated magwell on it, which is nice, and it's not obtrusive. It's very, very nice without being obtrusive. And I will say the same thing for the Springfield Prodigy. It's got a real tiny little integral magwell on it. These are nice guns if you can get one that runs out of the box. Back to the SIG P211. It's not designed to be a carry gun. It's a match gun. But like I said, if the magwell gets in your way and you want a shorter magazine, certainly concealable. In a shoulder holster, it is, you don't notice the weight or the mass. It's just not slim and trim, like the Wilson is, and it's a little more herky and bulky than the Wilson. I just love the design on these Wilsons. Anyway, would I carry this as a defensive gun? Yeah, if I could find shorter magazines and get rid of that huge flared magwell, which, like I said, they're made to come right off. Nice gun. I can shoot it really fast. The porting system is very effective, but at night it does give you muzzle flash. So does this one, but that's ammo dependent. And this one tends to give less muzzle flash than this one. It's all about the difference in the porting system. Last but not least, this is an Art Jensen 3-gun pistol. I had this made many, many years ago when I was going to get into 3-gun. And you know what? I just didn't have the time. I'd rather be in the woods hunting and goofing around and traveling around the country shooting competitions. And there's a lot of travel involved if you're going to become champion level EDC. If you were going to carry this one concealed, you'd want to get rid of that mag release latch, and put one on there that's not so obtrusive that can accidentally, get engaged and you lose your magazine. Of the non-ported guns, I can probably shoot this one the quickest because it's the heaviest. This is a big lug of steel here, and it's heavy, something that wouldn't bother me in a shoulder holster. I even had steel stocks put on it, not just for the grip, but for the weight. And, if you're gonna shoot competition, weight is a good thing because it controls your muzzle flip and makes for faster shooting. Let's talk real quick about these 1911s with a sear, with a firing pin and a sear. If you drop the slide without compressing the trigger, you can do sear damage. Now, I've done videos with 1911s where I did drop the slide without compressing the trigger. But that's because they didn't have trigger jobs. And boy, did I get a ration of crap for doing that in videos from people that understand 1911 style pistols. So you just compress the trigger, and it's fine if you do this with the gun loaded, hit your slide release, never ride the slide home, never ever do this. And it's almost automatic to want to ride the slide, but if you do, you run the risk of everything not going into battery right, especially on a really tight gun like this. I've almost got it broken in. It needs 1,000 rounds to break it in, and it's getting there. So always, now on a striker fired gun, that doesn't matter so much. And on a 1911 styled gun without a really nice trigger job, it doesn't matter so much. But you can booger your trigger. I mean, when you shoot the gun, the trigger is pulled every time the slide goes home. So nothing hits your sear and kind of smashes it. Just close your slide and it takes some getting used to if you're not used to it. For me, it's automatic manipulation. I have the trigger pressed, I slam the slide, I pop the safety on, I drop the magazine, add one more round, and I do it in my sleep. But just remember that. Don't damage your sears on finely tuned guns. And every one of these would qualify as a finely tuned gun at this point. Anyway, these are all guns that I would carry concealed. On the bigger magwells, I'd drop the magwells and probably try to find a shorter magazine. This MBX is a 23 round magazine. I mean, that's really nice. You can shoot it all day long with one magazine in it, but it's pretty long for concealed carry. And that magwell is huge. Art Jensen builds a beautiful gun. I don't even know if he's still building guns. This is way pre-COVID. And I think COVID messed with him like it did everybody else. He's a 3-gun shooter, and his family is 3-gun shooters. And he knows how to build a gun. Folks, hope you enjoy seeing some of these upper end Gucci guns. I think there's one last point to cover. How much can these guns do that I couldn't do with a Springfield XD or a Glock? You have to get really discerning to get an advantage out of these guns. The advantage is the trigger pull, the speed, the kind of speed you could never do with a Glock trigger. Even with ZevTech triggers in the Glocks and other things, I just can't shoot a Glock as fast as I can something like this. How much does that matter? I don't know. Depends on the situation you're in, at what distance. It just depends. But are they definitely better than a Springfield XD or a Beretta 92F or a Glock Model 17? Oh yeah. I mean, but not everybody has $3,000, you know, or more to spend on a carry gun. And I get it, I understand it. I got these all for testing. These are all new acquisitions except for this one and this one. Anyway, folks, have a great day. God bless, and we'll see you on the next video.